The 2026 Grocery Guide, Decoding Blood Sugar for Diabetes. If you are living with diabetes or working to keep your blood sugar in a healthy range, I want you to realize something. The modern grocery store is essentially a minefield. We've been told for years to just eat whole grains or to buy the low-fat version, but the reality in 2026 is that many of these healthy foods are actually engineered to spike your glucose. Today we're going to talk and look at the actual science of why certain foods protect your metabolism while others sabotage it. My goal isn't to give you a do not eat list, but to give you a biological framework for making better choices. The bread trap, fiber versus fillers. Let's start with the bread. This is often the first place diabetics get tripped up. When you see a label that says whole grain, your first instinct is to trust it. But if you look at the fine print, many of these breads contain added cane sugar and soybean oil. Why does that matter? Because sugar is added to make the bread eatable, but even half a teaspoon of sugar per slice is enough to disrupt your glucose baseline. Instead, we want to look for flour and bake it our own if we cannot find options with 4 ingredients only. Water, flour, yeast, and salt is all you need for bread, no more. Next, we have to talk about how we sweeten our lives, especially our coffee and tea. We know cane sugar is out, but the industry has gotten very clever with substitutes. If you keep up a box of stevia in the raw, you'll notice the first ingredient is often dextrose. Dextrose is just another name for sugar. It's a filler that can spike your blood sugar just as fast as the white stuff. To truly protect your numbers, you need to look for a good high-fat milk for your coffee and ideally tea without any sweetener or maximum a bit of honey if allowed. The drinks is one of the most difficult trap to be in and ideally we cut it out completely. Moving over to the dairy case, we see one of the biggest wolf in sheep's clothing foods, yogurt. 90% of the yogurts on the shelf are effectively desserts promoted as health foods. A single fruit-flavored cup can have 12 to 15 grams of added sugar. For a diabetic, the gold standard is plain Greek yogurt. When you strain yogurt, you are physically removing the liquid whey, which contains a large portion of the lactose or milk sugar. What you're left with is a high-protein, low-sugar powerhouse. Protein doesn't just build muscle, it keeps you full and blunts the glucose response of anything else. Protein doesn't just build muscle, it keeps you full and blunts the glucose response of anything else you eat with it. If you find difficult to eat it plain, then you can add some frozen blueberries or some frozen raspberries, maybe some nuts, but try to stop there and don't add maple syrup or honey. The fruits themselves are pretty sweet and the high-fat yogurt has plenty of flavor to be able to enjoy it. The power of protein anchoring. This brings us to a concept I call protein anchoring. Whether it's eggs for breakfast or a piece of lean beef, protein is the anchor for your blood sugar. When you eat a meal that is 30 grams of protein, you are signaling to your stomach to slow down. It's called delayed gastric emptying. If you eat a piece of toast alone, it's a spike. If you eat that same toast with 2 eggs and some lean protein, the protein anchors the carbs, preventing them from hitting your bloodstream all at once. This is why a low-carb breakfast with high protein is the single best way to start a stable metabolic day. This is why I suggest to not serve breakfast with bread either, but keep it for later. To make eggs more tasty, add some cheese and maybe some berries on the side next to the piece of meat, but going as low as possible on carbs, especially in the morning when you start your day, will really benefit you. Let's reimagine pasta and rice. Finally, let's look at the starch bombs. Pasta and rice. Traditional white rice and wheat pasta have had their fiber stripped away. They are pure starch. In 2026, we have incredible alternatives, chickpea and lentil pastas. It's a serious game changer because they are loaded with prebiotic fiber. This fiber doesn't just help your blood sugar, it feeds the healthy bacteria in your gut. If you want to be even more aggressive with your glucose management, Look at these options. These are almost entirely fiber and water. You can enjoy a pasta dish with virtually zero net carbs. You get the texture and the experience without the biological bill you have to pay later in the form of high blood sugar. Knowledge is the best tool. Managing diabetes isn't about deprivation, it's about substitution. It's about understanding that every time you choose a sprouted grain over a refined one or a strained yogurt over a sugary one, you are taking the pressure off of your endocrine system. The grocery store doesn't have to be a minefield if you know how to read the map. Focus on fiber, anchor your meals with protein, and always look past the front of the box marketing to get to see the real ingredient list.